Welcome back to San Antonio for the final series of the SCAC season. Schreiner Mountaineers come to town, face the Trinity Tigers, ranked number 6 in the nation with a record of 27-9. Mountaineers 12-22 coming in. It'll be a 3-game series today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Arjun Thacker, the game 1 starter for Trinity. See his record on the season starting to grow into a role as a starter. Was a middle reliever for a while. Called him the fireman. He came in situations like bases loaded, no outs, and was able to work out of it. And he's gained the trust of head coach Tim Scannell. And we see him now, the day 1 starter in an SCAC series. Fortunately for him, though, walks batter number 1. So, a runner on to start for Schreiner. They're coming off of a successful series against the University of Dallas. That one concluded with a big walk-off victory. Last weekend. So, Ben Benavides, the batter who walked, and now it's Chance Goins from Universal City, not the first Universal City native we've seen on the season. Trying to think back, I think it was the Hardin Simmons roster boasted somebody from there. That one in there for a strike for Thacker. Through a brief delay from the home plate umpire. I'll get you the lineup for Schreiner as soon as I can decipher coach's handwriting. I have it in front of me, but might as well be in hieroglyphics. So Contreras waits on deck. He's the right fielder for the Mountaineers. Fouled off by Goins, still 2-2. Thacker 6'4", 225 on the mound. See, he causes a slight problem for our camera shot as his head goes just out of picture. Didn't count on such a big man on the mound. Chance to turn 2 here for the Tigers. They won't take it. Throw over to first and get the easy out number 1. See Bender at first base. Continues there. Here's that lineup for Schreiner. So we're now to Austin Contreras. Josh Gilliam, reigning SCAC hitter of the week, on deck. Hortz to follow. Williams, Ortiz, Elliott, and Quintana rounds out the lineup. Contreras, the senior, leads his team with a .291 average, 17 runs batted in on the season. This is a Schreiner team that's having a down year at the plate. Nobody with an average over 300. It's part of this Mountaineers team. Nobody eligible. There's one freshman with 20 or so at bats, hitting at a .333 pace. That one outside and low for Thacker. Benavides on second. And the 2-1 is chopped once again towards third. Look off of the runner at second and throw across the diamond for out number 2. John Tucker at third base, or in the number 4. He's back in the lineup. Looks like the only change for Tim Scannell after the Tigers' victory against UMHB on Tuesday. Saw Metz at third for that one. favoring the senior now. The senior weekend here in San Antonio. Here's another play for him to make. He's backed up, but there won't be a play. So came good the first 2 times, but that one ate him up on the infield grass. A couple of runners aboard here in the first. So Gilliam reaches on the air. And Reese Hortz, the first baseman, now at the plate. Big number 44 takes strike number 1. See his stats for the year. Belton, Texas native, Belton High School graduate. Couple of home runs. Mountaineers have 8 as a team. Big cut there from Hortz. Mountaineers down to their final strike here in frame number 1, and they're going to get him swinging. Goodrich in pursuit down the first base line, but he'll toss over to Bender to end the inning. So Schreiner, no hits, but they leave a couple on after an error and a walk. And we'll head to the bottom half of inning number 1. Nothing here on the Tiger Network. On the mound for the Mountaineers in game 1 of this series going to be Caleb Allen, Katy, Texas native, senior lefty. Where's the number 42? And has a 1-4 record. You see on your screen, 6.52 ERA. And in a roster of over 60 strong and over 20 guys that have taken the mound this season for the Mountaineers, he's been one of the more familiar faces. Here's a familiar face for Tiger fans, somebody who they'd like to see start to get hot here as we enter the stretch run. Logan Morrison continues as the leadoff man. See his average not where he necessarily wants it to be, although the on-base percentage, at a reasonable number for a leadoff guy. Takes a couple of balls here. We saw Thacker with the leadoff walk in the top of the inning. You want to avoid that here if you're Allen on the mound. 431 on base percentage for Morrison. He takes the 3-0 pitch for a strike. 24 walks on the season. Only 15 strikeouts for the second baseman. Start to see some consistency from the lineup with Tim Scannell as we get into final couple weekends of the season, although the Tigers will hope their season continues into mid-May. College World Series, things of that nature. Leadoff walk for Logan Morrison, similar to what we saw from Benavides to lead off the game. Brings up Jake Martin, guy who's up there in the home run lead. 2 behind the leader Montgomery from Southwestern, 7. But what a season he's having. Up there as well in terms of hits and runs scored nationally in the top 15 for both of those at the Division III level. Pull up the stat sheet on the SCAC website in terms of leaders in each category. It's just littered with players from this Tiger team. This one skied out into deep center field. Going back and making the catch on the warning track is Ortiz. Martin not far away deceptively from putting that one over the center field wall. Anywhere else in the park, that one may have had just enough to clear the fence. Just goes as a flyout though for the right fielder. Brings up Rafe Shamet, one of those guys on quite a few categories. Second in batting average with a .395. Fifth with RBI was at 36. And if he would have found his power swing earlier in the year, you have to think he'd be up there for home runs as well. He's got 4, and they've all come within 10 days. It's really starting to heat up for this Tiger team. It's not like he was starting from a place where he wasn't already producing. Another throw over to first. Number 2 and 3 for ERA in the conference. Both play here in San Antonio. Corey Cater and Jeff Lonecker. Cater also second in the conference with 6 wins. And here's another ball that's crushed by Rafe Shamet. We'll see where this one ends up. Going back is Ortiz, though, once again to ruin the party. He makes the catch. A couple of deep flyouts, Tiger hitters here early on. Brings up Mason Meredith, who's crept back into the top 5 in batting average as we continue to talk about conference leaders in stats. He's hitting .360. Seen him at points in the season even higher than this. He's been in the high 300s all year. Consistent performer at the plate and in the outfield. And speaking of the outfield, this ball squirts into the outfield. Morrison now digs for third, and he's going to get it. So the leadoff man now stands at third base, and the go-ahead run just 90 feet away for the Tigers. Conference leader for Schreiner is Josh Gilliam. He's got 8 saves. And he's playing third base today. He's a utility guy who they like to turn to when they have a lead, which has been a bit too uncommon if you're a Mountaineer fan, but he's appeared in 9 out of the 12 wins as a pitcher. Cater and Lonecker again, second and third in that category. We'll probably see them tomorrow and Saturday, if I had to wager a guess. Interestingly, the only category a Tiger player doesn't appear in the top 5 in is stolen bases. Saw Morrison grab a steal here already in the first, but being aggressive on the base pass not necessarily characteristic of this team. Probably feel confident enough in their ability to get it done at the plate. Don't necessarily need to take the risks. Meredith battling here, behind in the count, 0-2. And he takes ball one after a couple of foul balls. Caleb Allen with the 1-2, and that one misses as well. His delivery not dissimilar to the Mary Hardin Baylor pitcher Tigers saw midweek, Bailey Watley, shorter in stature. Compensates by coming a bit more over the top. Another foul ball from Meredith. He's battling here. Allen's thrown 17 pitches, trying to get out of this first inning. And the lead just 90 feet away with Morrison on third base. Practice swings from Meredith. And the 2-2 is chopped out towards shortstop. Coming in, but the ball squirts away. And so the Tigers will take the lead here in the first. Quintana unable to make the transfer to the throwing hand. And Meredith reaches on the fielding error. Tigers take full advantage, scoring the first run of this one. So that one won't count on the ERA for Allen, but it does count on the scoreboard. Here's a man who could potentially keep this inning alive. It's Dallas Bender. He's been a guy that likes to hit for 2-3 bases, 3 home runs on the season as well. See some guys come in with their average right near their slugging percentage. A lot of singles for them. That's not necessarily the case for Bender. He's a guy that likes to give the ball a ride. Nearly got caught swinging at the high fastball there, but he stays alive now with a 1-2 count. To the point. A .314 average for Bender, .529 slugging percentage. That one comes in inside. 13 extra base hits out of 32. So when he gets on, there's a good chance he's going to be rounding first base. See what he can do here, though, with the 2-2. And he puts this one out into the outfield. We'll see if there's a play to be made. And coming in, and the ball bounces out there in left field right before the glove of Benavides. So after all that extra base hit talk, Bender stands on first base. Meredith, though, now in scoring position for Michael Goodrich. The numbers for every Tiger hitter that comes up to the plate just so impressive. And as of late, they've really started to put hits together, get runs out of situations like this. Saw quite a few 2-out rallies in the UMHB game, notably in the first inning when they took a 3-0 lead. So a couple of extra base hits. And here's one. We'll see where this one lands. Looks like it's going to be in foul territory. If a catch is there to be made, and the sun too much to contend with for Gilliam. Second least at life here for the Tiger catcher at the plate. Bender was already headed back to the dugout when that one dropped in foul territory. Everyone retakes their positions. And we go again. Now the 0-1 count for the Tiger backstop. And he's swinging again. This time a runner going to third. And the throw down to third is going to allow a run to score as it gets past Gilliam. Although there's some controversy here. Not sure what's going on. And some way, somehow, the innings come to an end here. Schmidt sprints out to left field with his glove in hand. We'll see. I think they may have called interference on the dugout. Or maybe on the hitter. We'll try and figure out what happened for you there. And we'll come back out for the next inning with that replay. We'll be right back here on the Tiger Network. The Tigers take the lead, but it could have been so much more. It's 1-0. We'll be right back. So Williams, Ortiz, and Elliott due up for the Mountaineers, who've now fallen behind 1-0. The official ruling on that play that ended the first was interference on Goodrich at the plate. Didn't have a definitive angle to see if he was actually in the way or if it was just a poor throw from Elliott. Either way, brings the first frame to conclusion. Tigers lead 1-0. Saw them score in every inning against Mary Hardin Baylor. So now that's 10 straight for the Tiger offense. Two from Thacker comes in high. We'll have a payoff pitch here in the first at-bat of the second inning. And we're going to have another leadoff walk. So second consecutive inning, Thacker gives a free pass to start off. Ernest Ortiz now, junior outfielder from Uvalde, Texas. Shows bunt, pulls back. Schreiner playing some small ball here, and it's no surprise. Every time they've taken a game against the Tigers in the last couple of years, it's been a one-run game. Last year they came in here, lost the first couple of games, and then in game 3, won 3-2 in 10 innings. That one will roll foul off the bunt. 2017, they also won game 3. That one was 4-3. And in 2016, they won game 3, 2-1. So we'll see if pattern holds. I won't be around for the last couple of games of this series. Fingers crossed it's not my last broadcast of the year. That we get to host potentially an NCAA regional here in San Antonio, but if it is, I wouldn't mind the Tigers going out on a winning note for me. Strike number 2 there against Ortiz. He's gonna have to pull back and swing here with 2 strikes. put into play right to Thacker. Chance to turn two, and they won't. Tiger infield, which is turn two with such consistency this season, unable to get the job done that time. They do get the lead runner. The center fielder, of course, traditionally one of the quickest players in the lineup, is running. And that was Ortiz who beat it out at first. Tigers were ranked 4th in double plays coming into the week nationally, and they turned one against UMHB. Something they tend to do extremely well. And this isn't who was scheduled to come up. Supposed to be Quintana, the shortstop. And instead it's Colby Kitchens, the number 24, unless we had a change of number on the jersey. Says he's a right-hand pitcher, and he swung like it there on pitch number 1. Nowhere near the offering from Thacker. So it was Quintana who was playing defense in inning number 1. But now this is the number 9 batter, and we haven't seen him. Here's another chance to turn two. The runner stays on second. And we just get out number 2 here for Thacker. He's getting that middle infield ground ball, though, which is something you really enjoy seeing if you're a Tiger fan. So should be back to the top of the order now. So now that looks like Quintana. And I have to take solace in the fact that I'm not the only one confused by what's going on here for Schreiner. Quintana swings on the second pitch, and that's going to be out number 3. Martin brings it in right field. So we'll try to figure out what went on there once again with the Schreiner lineup, and I'll bring the conclusion of my research to you when we come back for the bottom of the second. You're watching the Tiger Network. Trinity leads 1-0. So the DH, Blake Johnson, will lead off here for the Tigers. Looks like catcher George Elliott, who was scheduled due up before Quintana in the last inning, hurt his hand on that catcher interference, or the batter's interference call, excuse me, in inning number 1. And so he didn't come up to bat. And there's a change made behind the plate for the Mountaineers. Blake Johnson, the other change in the lineup from Tuesday night. He's in for Caraway as the DH. Freshman continuing to get significant playing time. Of course, also a member of the Tiger football team. Seeing the field in not just one, but 2 sports as a freshman is certainly an impressive feat here on campus. And he sends that one out into left center field, brought in by Benavides, and the flyouts continue for the Tigers. Saw deep fly balls hit by Martin and Shamet in the first frame. Nothing came of those, although the Tigers did grab first run of the game on a error on Quintana. Here's John Tucker. He's also back in the lineup. The story of his season has been peaking the very first weekend. He was SCAC hitter of the week, was hitting 600 or 700 after the series against SUNY Cortland. And since then, it's been a struggle at the plate for the Tiger senior. He's had moments, though, where he's popped up with RBI singles, had a home run. But he's struggled to find both consistency at the plate and consistently being in the lineup. Those two things, of course, very related. Worked a 3-1 count here from Allen, who's already mid-30s in the pitch count through 1 1/3. He's made to work big time, but he also doesn't help himself out. That's the second inning in a row where he's walked a man. He wasn't helped out by his defense, could have avoided conceding that run had the play been made it short. Ahead to Wisniewski, who was honorable mention for hitter of the week after a good series against Southwestern. He's been restored to the lineup as of late. Scott Parker came in and took his spot for a bit. He bided his time, worked his way back into the lineup, and it looks like he's going to be here to stay. The big advantage for Wisniewski, not only a solid glove at short, but a left-handed bat in the lineup, which is in short supply at times for the Tigers. Today, the only two, Shamet and Wisniewski. Interesting pick-off move there from Allen. Tried to get Johnson, or Tucker, excuse me, leaning the wrong way. Caraway, the other consistent lefty in the lineup, though he's not featuring as of now tonight. A couple of the quick moves over to Tucker caught me off guard, but Tiger Senior was alert to the danger. And 3 in a row over to first base. Not the most entertaining thing. Tucker looks like he's enjoying it. Smile on his face. And the pitch finally comes home. Strike number 1. Schreiner in a quest to get into the SCAC tournament. A win or two here really aid them in that. There's no question about it. Tigers looking to get number 1 seed in the postseason. Battling with TLU for that. And if anyone's just going to go tell Allen, John Tucker doesn't really run when he gets on base. Not sure what they're so worried about. He's by no means slow, but got 9 stolen bases on the season. Been caught stealing once. Last year he was 5 for 6. Trying to grab an extra bag. Certainly occupied space in the head of Allen. Wisniewski goes down swinging there for out number 2. First strikeout for Allen on the day. Back to the top of the order for the home team. Logan Morrison walked to lead off the game. See what he can do here. The runner on and a couple away. Allen really starting to find a good off-speed pitch, and Tucker finding second base. The most ironic fashion. The one time they don't throw over, he's ready to get on the move and perhaps prove them right about his speed. Double digits for Tucker in stolen bases on the season. Takes a big lead here and a big rip from Morrison, but he gets underneath it. This one's going out into medium left center field. Brought in with ease by Benavides, so the Tigers go relatively quietly. No runs, no hits, one left on base. We'll be right back. Tigers still lead 1-0. It's the Schreiner Mountaineers. Thacker back out for the third inning here, and why not? He's been extremely effective so far. Back to the top of the order for Schreiner. Grabbed a couple of base runners their first time through, but haven't put anything together as of yet. Bat put on the ball here and put out towards short. And solid defense there from Wisniewski, doesn't make a mistake. And the Tigers go around the horn, get the ball back to Thacker, who's ready to work once again. Chance Goins grounded out to third his first time up. See what he has on offer now. One of quite a few freshmen getting significant time for head coach Ryan Brisbane. It's only the second career start for Arjun Thacker. His first came against Mary Hardin Baylor. Not Tuesday, but previous Wednesday. He went 6 2/3. Just gave up one run that was earned on 5 hits. And from that, looks like he gained his manager's trust. And I'm not sure where that one missed, but it did. So another walk. I've seen about one every half inning so far. Trend continues here in the top of the third. And the conclusion to that confusion in the second was that George Elliott, who was scheduled to up 8th, came up 8th, but wearing a different number than was listed on their roster. Listed on the lineup was the correct number 24. Just trying to play some tricks, a bit of the dark arts from the Schreiner Mountaineers. comes in outside from Thacker. He's missed 5 straight pitches. He's thrown 38 now through 2 and the third. Not horrible, but not near as efficient as he was in Belton just over a week ago.
Come on, Dad, you're the best.
6 straight now, missing the zone for the first year on the mound. 2-0, and again comes in low. Mountaineers just daring him, put something over the middle of the plate. Contreras, the right fielder, grounded out to Tucker his first time up. Shows bunt now on the 3-0. That went in there for a strike. Didn't look good enough to put the bat on for Contreras.
Thanks, Dad, you're the best. Come on,
See if Thacker can battle back from a poor start to this at bat. Instead, it comes in low. A couple of walks here in the third. See, it looks like he is going to get a visit. That's to be expected. Don't see action in the pen. Doesn't mean there isn't any. Pitching coach out to the mound for Trinity. No movement towards the ball. Right hand covering the face instead. So it looks like Thacker will stay in this game. He's worked himself into a jam here, first and second and 1 away. Josh Gilliam at the plate. He reached on an error to start the game. And he's also the reigning SCAC Hitter of the Week for his performances against Dallas.
Third baseman, 26, Josh Gilliam.
Let's go, JG. Come on, Josh. Do damage right here, Josh.
Gilliam having a career year as a junior. Smithson Valley High School graduate. Takes strike number 1. Thacker, inspired by something his pitching coach said, finds the zone for the first time in a while. Feels the pressure of a runner on second and first maybe. Gets a big swinging strike on the off-speed pitch there. Varied it up. Usually fastball heavy pitcher. Able to throw high 80s. And he's slowly starting to stretch out now into a starter for this team. That time he misses. Goodrich is going to throw down behind the runner just as a warning shot. And the 1-2 does get away from Goodrich. And you have to say, if he was the one called for interference for the third end to third earlier on in the game, this ball is caught right in between the feet of the batter. I'm no expert on the interference rule, but that's certainly tough on the Tiger catcher. There's now runners on the corners. And still just 1 out. Double play ball away from ending the inning, but something squeaks through the infield. This game could be all tied up.
Come on, Josh. Come on, 2-6, right here, bud. Right here, kid.
It's going to be the 2-2 offering from Thacker. Comes in outside. It's going to be a payoff pitch. And here it comes. They go outside and they miss outside, so bases loaded. We're going to look at the play that allowed the runner to advance to third. Comes off of Goodrich and stepped on by the man at the plate. Goodrich then finds the ball. And again, no expert on the rule, but seemed harsh against the Tigers there. But that's out. The third walk issued by Thacker. Brings up Reese Hortz, who, if the ball was grounded up the middle, you have to say probably isn't beating the throw down the line. But it may not be Thacker on the mound to face him. And it won't be. So he departs. Usually the guy they turn to in situations like this early in games. We'll see who comes in after he leaves the bases loaded full of Mountaineers. 3 walks here in the third. And it's going to be Carter Frank coming in relief. We'll let him get a couple of warm-up tosses. We'll be right back with you. You're watching the Tiger Network. It's going to be Carter Frank in relief. You see his stats on your screen. He's been excellent since really starting up in the second half of the season. We didn't see him until March 9th. And he worked 2/3 of a scoreless inning against Rochester. Didn't give up a run until March 29th against Centenary. And his last time out was against Southwestern in the first game of the doubleheader, which the Tigers were victorious 11-5. He didn't give up any runs. But he did walk 3, something he can't afford to do here. He's already thrown ball number 1 to Hortz. And here's a potential double play ball. We'll see if it gets through, and it does. So what could have been 2 may end up being 2 runs for the Mountaineers and a lead. And it is. So Horwitz's ground ball up the middle proved too much for Morrison defensively. And then the ball got past Meredith, which I think allows the second run to come around and score. And the Tigers in shock fashion behind here. You see that one gets out of the glove of Meredith as well. He turns and picks it up, fires to third. The run's already come home. So a 2-1 lead now for the Mountaineers in the top of the third. Frank would have had him picked off if there was anyone covering. It's Jeffrey Williams now, the designated hitter. He walked to lead off the second. Still 2 on for Schreiner and just 1 out. You saw that ball lightly tapped up the middle. You felt like the end of the inning was so close. And instead now it seems quite far away. fouled off. It's 0-2 for the designated hitter. The Tigers' designated hitter in the background of that shot moments ago, Blake Johnson. Such a tough job. You watch your team go out there and play defense, and when they struggle, you want to be a part of helping them out, especially with a play like that towards second base. Johnson is a second baseman himself, but Morrison preferred defensively here. Carter Franck gets a strikeout there for the second out of the inning. And now we'll see Ernest Ortiz. Reese Hortz on first and Josh Gilliam on second. All this caused by 3 walks from Arjun Thacker before he departed. So those 2 runs will go against his ERA and not Franck's, which remains extremely low. This one sent out into shallow center field. Play should be made. Everyone anticipates it, and it is made by Mason Meredith. Not before the Mountaineers take a 2-1 lead here on a couple of could-have-beens for the Tigers defensively. They'll get a chance now with the bats in hand. They trail 2-1 here on the Tiger Network. Allen continues working on the mound here for the Mountaineers. Jake Martin digs in. It'll be 2-3-4 due up for the home team. Look to respond after falling behind in the top half of this inning. The left-handed number 42. Up at 42 pitches. And this one's sent out into right by Jake Martin. We'll see if there's a play to be made. And it's going to come off of the wall. So Martin going 2. He's in an awkward face-first slide. Ball came in extremely quickly, probably caught him off guard. But either way, a leadoff double for the Tigers right fielder here in the third. Second time in a row, Martin's been within a couple of feet of the ball leaving the ballpark. Saw a lot of people move their cars last night to the parking garage to try and avoid hail. Perhaps maybe to try and avoid some Tiger home runs as well. Shamet squares around to bunt, and he'll hope this one gets down. It's a poor bunt attempt from Shamet. And if you're listening, Sam McWhorter, my occasional broadcast partner, I'm sorry you had to witness that. Hates to see these Tiger hitters square around to bunt. And they're hitting at a mark like Shamet is. Can't say I disagree with him. Shamet getting a quick bit of attention from the Tiger dugout. stands back in now, behind in the count, 0-1 after the failed bunt attempt. And a runner in scoring position. The tying run is Jake Martin on second. Schmidt now behind in the count, 0-2. Had a mini slump a couple of weeks ago when the team started to put the shift on him. And then he realized, well, I can just hit the ball out of here. He's hit 4 home runs in 10 days. And they stopped putting the shift on him. Tried to do so there. Instead, fouled it straight back, staying alive. It's still 0-2. And he goes upstairs and chases the high fastball from Allen. And he didn't get there in time, so he goes down on strikes. Mason Meredith, who reached on an error, which allowed the run to come around and score in the first. He's next up. Leadoff double from Jake Martin adds him on second base in scoring position as the tying run. That controversial play with Goodrich that ended the first inning as opposed to Meredith and perhaps Bender coming around to score. Looked at it over break. Certainly the wrong call to say intentional interference on that one. Goodrich just standing there as the throw went down to third and the ball came off of his bat, which blocked the throw and sent the ball out towards the Tiger dugout. I think it'd be harsh to even call unintentional interference. That's how the Tigers ended that inning. Here's another throw down to third, and they're going to get Martin. Talked about the Tigers not really being aggressive on the base pass. They were there, and it didn't pay off. Martin in motion, but was caught by Elliott behind the plate. And well, it looked like a really promising situation. Martin on second, and Chamet to do up Meredith to follow has now turned into potentially a 1-2-3 inning. Meredith can't keep it alive. He's going to put this one into play. And again, play unable to be made by Quintana. Second time in a row, Meredith has reached on an error by the shortstop. And there's your argument against stolen bases. In a nutshell, you'd have potentially Martin on third, at least on second. Bender at the plate, Goodrich to follow, a chance for a two-out rally, and a chance to get back in this game, but instead, it's Meredith on first, Bender at the plate, 2 outs. Bender singled his first time up through the infield, dropped right out, shallow left field. Allen's been extremely effective after a shaky start, which could have seen quite a few runs come across in the first. Probably feels got that little bit of luck he needed to get out of that inning, and now since it's been extremely effective. Finding the strike zone, getting out in front of hitters, and forcing guys like Chamet to strike out in a way that really looks pretty ugly. The 0-2 going to be on its way here. It's put in play by Bender. Play to be made by Gilliam, and it is. So the Tigers get a leadoff double from Martin, but he's caught stealing, and they waste a potential chance to even this one up. They trail 2-1. You're watching the Tiger Network. Carter Franck going to continue on the mound here for the Tigers. Schreiner continues to lead. They took the 2-1 advantage in the top half of the third. Franck came in and a 2 RBI single from Reese Howards immediately followed. All of that made possible by 3 straight walks from the Mountaineers. And here's George Elliott, who's not wearing his prescribed number 13 tonight for reasons unbeknownst to me. But that was about as ugly a strikeout as you're going to see. Carter Franck makes him look bad there.
Batting ninth, shortstop number 9, Osman.
And that's a great way to start off this inning for the reliever. Osman Quintana struggled a bit at shortstop so far as a senior. A couple of errors against Mason Meredith, ground balls. His final year as a member of this Mountaineer program. Grimaces towards Franck as the 2-0 is on its way. Finds the inside part of the plate. Quintana not quite about chewing his gum at the plate. Sends that one foul, and the count now even at 2-2. Benavides, the leadoff man, waits on deck. And Quintana's going to go down on strikes there. He didn't even look like he was aware that that was going to be strike 3. A couple of quick strikeouts here from Franck, who looks to be coming into his own here in the 4th. We'll see what he can do now against the top of the Schreiner order. El Paso native Ben Benavides, another senior for head coach Ryan Brisbane. Brisbane, of course, the Australian city home to the famous A-League team, the Brisbane Roar. Has to be one of the best team names in sports. And Benavides is going to put this one out into center field. Meredith makes the catch. And that's about as effective an inning as you can have if you're Carter Franck. He comes in, gets the job done. We'll see if the bats can do the same for Tim Scannell's team when we come back. You're watching SCAC Baseball on the Tiger Network. Six, 7, 8 due up for the Tigers here in the 4th. Goodrich will lead off. Got called out on the controversial interference play way back in the 1st inning. So he should theoretically get a chance to actually bat here, as long as nothing else strange happens. The Arizona native, amongst quite a few Arizonians in the Tiger lineup, Tiger roster in general. Allen, after laboring early on to get through innings 1 and 2, has started to find some rhythm here as we progress. This one sent out into right center, and ranging to his left and making a huge stop was Contreras. So Goodrich robbed of a potential leadoff double there. He'll head back to the dugout. Here, quick look at that last catch made by Contreras. Far as he could reach to his left, goes to ground after the ball ends up in his glove. So well done to him to deny the Tigers' leadoff base runner. It'll be Blake Johnson now, the designated hitter for the night. He flew out to left field his first time up. And he sends this one foul. So he's behind in the count 1 and 2. First year seeing time here down the stretch run, which I think shows a certain amount of faith in him from his manager. Same with Metz, who we saw play a significant role Tuesday night. And looks like he's going to have to run this one out. But he gets out of play. Down the line, foul. Tigers have taken 2 out of 3 against Schreiner the last 3 seasons. Can't afford to drop a game here as they are in pursuit of TLU in the conference standings. That'll be out number 2. All thoughts about TLU and potential top of the conference situation should be put on hold here as they need to deal with Schreiner. Currently second from bottom in SCAC play this year. Third from bottom, Austin College, Dallas, and then the Mountaineers. Mountaineers took 2 out of 3 from Southwestern and were a whisker away from sweeping the Pirates in a shock series earlier on this year as Tucker reaches for the second time tonight, that time an infield single for the Tiger third baseman. So those 2 wins from Schreiner over Southwestern really put them out of the conversation for top of the conference. They're 6 and 6. They're also beaten by Trinity and TLU over a 3-game series. They were nearly swept. Schreiner took the first 2 games, and then game 3, they lost only in extras to the Pirates from Georgetown. So TLU currently leading the conference. They won earlier today, so they have a record of 10 and 3. Wisniewski puts this one into play, but high and in the infield, reaching up and ending the inning. There was Quintana, so we'll continue to talk about SCAC standings when we come back. Tigers continue to trail here 2-1. You're watching SCAC baseball. Don't go anywhere. So after getting the Mountaineers to go 1, 2, 3, he'll be up against 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup. It's Carter Frank throwing on the mound for the Tigers. Got 2 strikeouts and a flyout in the 4th. Gets a foul ball here from Chance Goins. That one misses for Frank. He's got 2 strikes quickly, though, against Goins. And there's strike number 3. They're going to have to go through the routine and throw down to first, but they get that done, and it's out number 1. 3 out of the last 4 batters go down on strikes for the Mountaineers. 5th strikeout overall. Only 1 hit so far for Schreiner. 2 runs, though. That's because they were able to get 3 consecutive walks in the 3rd inning. Snuck a couple across on a 2 RBI single from Hortz, who waits on deck. Excuse me, in the hole. It's Contreras now, the number 3 batter. This Mountaineer lineup. That one misses on the 0-2 offering from Frank. Very much in a similar role to what we saw Thacker in earlier in the season. Now he appears to be a potential starter in the stretch run. Goodrich gets the tag there, and there's strike 3 once again. Frank's stuff just looking too nasty for both the hitters at the plate and Goodrich behind the plate. That's certainly not finding it, and neither is the mitt of the catcher at this point. But Frank continues to mow down the Mountaineers. He's got Josh Gilliam now in front of him, the 3rd baseman. Reigning conference hitter of the week. Reached on an error and a base on balls so far. And gets to the backstop for Goodrich. Similarly to what we're seeing from Allen on the other side, it's been a lot of getting out in front of hitters. Nothing in 2 for Frank. He's behind, though, 2-0 here. Let's see what he can do. He gets a ball put into play. And what looks like it's going to mirror the previous inning. 2 strikeouts and a flyout, all in fairly efficient fashion for the Tiger reliever. He's getting the job done. We'll see if the bats can do so. It's 1, 2, 3, due up, top of the order when we come back on the Tiger Network. Caleb Allen now will be making his third trip through this Tiger order. He's got Morrison to fly out, and he also gave him a walk back in the first. Came around to score then, and what looked like it was potentially going to be a fairly sizable Tiger lead to start the game. That first inning rally ended by a missed call on an intentional interference, allegedly, against the Tiger catcher Goodrich. So back to the top of the order here. Potential reset offensively after Tigers only grabbed 3 hits twice through the order. Both teams have left 5 runners on base as well. So both teams wasteful. The Mountaineers slightly less so. They have a 2-1 advantage. This one sent by Morrison out into the outfield. He's going to get down in front of the center fielder. Ortiz throws it back into the infield, and the Tigers have a leadoff man on. Martin was able to get on as a leadoff man himself his last time up with a double, but he was caught stealing. And what some would say was an ill-advised move down to third base. See if he can grab another hit for himself here. That one gets away from Elliott. Morrison advanced on a steal and then a pass ball in the first. Advances on a wild pitch this time from Allen. Bounced in front of Elliott. Seen Elliott get a couple of guys stealing, and then obviously you could say drew the intentional interference call. We'll see if Allen's going to continue. There's going to be a mound visit here. He's not necessarily dropped his level, but he's in a potentially dangerous situation in such a tight game. In tight games between these two teams, it's always pretty much gone in favor of the Mountaineers. That when the Tigers win over their SCAC foes, it's usually big. Haven't seen any evidence of an offensive outbreak thus far for the home team, but doesn't mean it's not right around the corner. Allen's now thrown 70 pitches through 4 innings. Giving up now 4 hits. 3 errors, though, for Schreiner. And a couple of walks as well have provided base runners for the Tigers to work with. That pitch, something to work with for Jake Martin. And going back once again is Ortiz. And he's so deep, there's no question that that will advance the runner. Martin's been within probably a cumulative 5 yards of 3 home runs tonight. That one just slightly low in the zone, lifted out over the head of Ortiz, but going back over the shoulder, making the play was the center fielder. But the Tigers have the tying run 90 feet away. You see Shamet with the OPS at exactly 1. So it's not easy to do. He's flown out to deep center and struck out. He puts this one into play in right, and it will go as a sac fly. So the Tigers give Morrison on base and then move him around with a couple of consecutive sac flies. He scored twice, both of the runs for the Tigers. It's 2-2 here in San Antonio. RBI number 37 on the year for Shamet, moves him into a tie for second place in the conference. And Mason Meredith again batting with nobody on base. Same was true after Martin was thrown out stealing in the third. This time, though, the Tigers, with a little bit of pressure off their backs. They're back level in this one, although it's a game in which they're heavy favorites. It's been an interesting psychological experiment to see how they've handled that heavy favorites tag pretty much throughout the entirety of this season. When they were ranked #1 is when their collective slump began. The 4 games in a row dropped as #1 in the country. They've now fallen to #6. Although that poll, in reality, inconsequential when it comes to postseason baseball. The Tigers know better than anybody. The only way to ensure that you're playing at a regional is to win the conference. Last season it was contentious to leave them out after a late season collapse. And they want to write off the ghost of last year by just doing their job at the tournament in a couple of weekends. Tigers will get their bye weekend up next, and then the SCAC tournament to follow that. The payoff pitch to Meredith is hung in too high. Wasn't far away for Allen, but it's a walk, which prolongs the inning here in the 5th. And Bender comes up now. He's 1 for 2 on the day. .317 hitter on the season. Started out the year as a role player, a pinch hitter. First bat off the bench, and he's worked his way into the lineup. Sometimes third base, sometimes first, sometimes DH. Today, he's at bag #1, as he has been consistently as of late. Taps the corners of the plate here. He's behind in the count. 0-1. 0-1. Gets past Elliott at second is Meredith, and he's rounding it to come to third. So now the go-ahead run 90 feet away after some opportunistic base running from the Tiger center fielder. A pitch from Allen that was extremely slow. I think Meredith was already going. And when Allen took something off of that one, he fooled his own catcher. That allowed Meredith to advance one more. And Bender's gonna have to beat this one out though. It goes towards third base, and it's a strike across the diamond, so the Tigers leave the go-ahead run on third base. They get back in this one though after a series of sac flies from Martin and Chamet. This one's all tied up at 2 as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Be right back with you on the Tiger Network. Coming back out for the 6th is Carter Frank. He's up against Reese Hortz, who the first time he saw the Tiger right-hander, he went for 2 RBIs. And this time he takes him to the warning track, but nothing more as Martin brings that one in deep right field. So the streak of 2 consecutive innings with a strikeout, flyout will come to an end. Nonetheless, though, it's out number 1. Franck now faced 10 batters, 4 strikeouts, 3 flyouts, and, 5 strikeouts, 4 flyouts, and the RBI single. Nothing for the infield to do as of yet. They won't mind it if he continues to work the way he has. Just 30 pitches since coming into the game. He relieved Arjun Thakur, who left him with the bases loaded on 3 consecutive walks. This one, though, has been given a ride by Williams. We'll see if a play's there to be made, and it was, but Meredith unable to come up with it. He does well to get the throw in from the seat of his pants, but that's a runner on base, and the first one we've seen against Carter Franck since way back in the 3rd inning. It's a miscommunication out in the outfield. Shamet goes to slide to get out of the way. Meredith slides to try and slow up and make the play. Nonetheless, the ball drops in between them. Goes as a double for the Mountaineers DH, and Ernesto Ortiz, 0 for 2, reached on a fielder's choice way back in the 2nd inning. Game has had a real pace to it, if nothing else, because neither team has really found much offensively up to this point. Teams combining for 6 hits after that last one from Schreiner. Here's another one put out into the outfield. It should be playable, though, for Meredith. He makes the play, and he's going to come up throwing and throws a strike to Morrison to keep Williams put at second base. And being the type of pitcher he is, Franck does give up a lot of these fly balls, and it's almost remarkable the ERA for him is as low as it is. It's descending now towards the .5 mark. He's been lucky no one's really barreled him up as of late. The Schreiner team, certainly not a team that goes yard with any type of regularity. Only 8 so far this season. The Tigers have a couple of guys that are near 8 on their own on the campaign. Tigers have 31 home runs as a team. Long check of the runner for Franck, and he steps off. Catches breath. Goodrich eyes towards the dugout to get the sign. Now something to protect for the Tigers after they were able to get back even in the bottom half of the 5th. Small ball being played by both teams, though. Every run at this point appears extremely vital in the contest. Another check of the runner from Franck, and he eventually does turn and pump fake towards second base. Appears a bit unsettled here with the man in scoring position. Continues to check on the runner. We saw John Tucker on first base get 4 consecutive throws over towards him. I haven't seen a throw towards second, but certainly occupying a space in Carter Franck's mind. He does come home this time, and that is strike number 2. A beautiful pitch from the right-hander, the junior on the mound. Didn't appear in his first 2 seasons in this program, but the Missouri City native has played a big role in the second half of this year. The 0-2, and it's going to be chopped right back up to the pitcher. He fields cleanly and throws towards Bender at first. The Tigers get out of potential jam with the man on second base. They're still even as we head to the bottom of the 6th. You're watching SCAC Baseball on the Tiger Network. what's turned into an impromptu pitching duel here between Allen for Schreiner and Carter Frank for the home team. He continues on the mound. He's got 5 innings pitched, given up 4 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of which was earned. 3 walks and a couple of Ks for Schreiner's left-hander on the mound. It's up against 6, 7, and 8 here in the 6th. Goodrich, victim of that interference call back in the 1st, flew out into deep right field in the 4th. Since Frank entered the game, Allen himself has found a bit of rhythm. As the game's really started to chug along. Looks like the play is going to be made by Elliott behind the plate. So Goodrich pops foul to start off the 6th. Be Johnson now, the DH. He's flown out a couple of times so far. See at what point, if at all, Coach Tim Scannell turns to his bench. He's got guys like Caraway that have consistently contributed this year. Nothing else getting on base. Tigers are left 6 on base, as have the Mountaineers through 6 frames. For Trinity, it was Morrison that came around to score both times. For Schreiner, both of their runs coming in off the bat of Howards, the first baseman, an RBI single. This one turned on by Johnson, sent though right towards the left fielder, though it gets over his head and bounces on the warning track. A double for Johnson. It was a good cut as you see him motion towards the dugout. Excited grin on his face. Potential for the Tigers to take the lead here in the bottom of the 6th. Brings up Tucker, who's reached base both times, a single and a walk back in the 2nd inning. He's looking to make a claim for a starting spot as we enter the stretch run back half of the season. He's been in and out as of late. Battling with Metz for the 3rd base role. This one, though, bobbled by Quintana. There will be no play. It's the 3rd error on the shortstop for the Mountaineers. He's struggled defensively, to say the least. 4th error as a team for Schreiner. And you have to say that's one they really needed. Would have given them 2 outs and the runner on 3rd, but anything would have done. Now, a couple of different ways the Tigers could score. They scored on an error by Quintana back in the 1st. Just one away. Tigers need to avoid a double play ball that could end this inning. An inning with some extreme promise here for them as they look to regain the lead here in San Antonio. Took the lead in the 1st inning in what was their 10th consecutive scoring frame going back to Tuesday's game. And they also grabbed one last inning after a couple of sac flies. Looks like Allen, who started to struggle, he's going to get a visit here. Whole infield converges in on him. And as is characteristic of many managers coming out, immediately brushes off the rubber like he's going to take the mound. Past his playing days is head coach Ryan Brisbane. The Brisbane Roar heads back to the dugout and leaves Allen out there with a 2-0 count against Wisniewski and runners on the corners. Top of the order waits on deck in Morrison, who scored a run 2 out of the 3 times he's come to the plate. Wisniewski Wags the bat and takes a cut at the 2-0. It goes straight back for strike number 1. The 2-1 comes in well outside. In danger here of loading them up for the top of the Tiger order. Last season, Schreiner won their final 6 games of the year. If they were to do so this year, it would be against pretty much everything, as they have Trinity for a series and TLU for a series, the conference leading teams. They wouldn't mind taking a couple games off of the big dogs. And they're right in this game. Potential for Tigers to regain the lead here. It's a 3-2 pitch going to be on its way to Wisniewski. And it comes in high for Allen. He's walked the bases loaded here for the top of the Tiger order. Still just 1 away in the bottom of the 6th. Has to feel like impending doom for the man on the mound. Morrison has reached twice on a walk and a single. Martin will come up after the Temecula native, as long as there's nothing of the double play variety. First pitch swinging and putting it foul is Tiger's second baseman. Allen now nearing the century mark here in the bottom of the 6th. He's at 93 pitches. And this one is going to get through, and it's going to score at least 1. Coming around is run number 2, and the Tigers regain the lead here in the bottom of the 6th. You see the energy from the dugout as Morrison able to produce there with the bases loaded. Johnson came around to score. Tucker as well from second base. As that one rolled out into right field. Throw was cut off as Tucker was in easily. And that is going to be all she wrote for Allen. So Coach Brisbane gave him a chance to get out of the jam. He's unable to do so. The Tigers regain the lead 4-2, and there's a pitching change for Schreiner. We'll be right back here on the Tiger Network. Andrew Castaneda, the reliever now for the Mountaineers, comes into a situation where the Tigers have just regained the lead at 4-2. Still work to be done here in the bottom of the 6th for him, though. He's only 1 out, and he's got Martin up to the plate. Schmidt on deck. Tigers look to potentially blow this one open. Mountaineers have stayed right in this game up to this point. Pitch number 1 from the sophomore comes in high and inside. Made 10 appearances as a freshman. Went 16 innings pitched and had a 8.44 ERA. This year, he's got that down to 5.59 in 7 appearances. Hangs another one in high for ball number 2. What has to be one of the best names for a small town in Texas. Mercedes, Texas, has produced Andrew Castaneda for the Mountaineers. 2-0 does find strike zone. Martin's now seen what he's up against. See what he has in response here. Wisniewski on second. Morrison on first. Two-one. Shot foul, so Castaneda battles back to an even count here. Schmidt waits on deck. He's 0 for 3, which to some looks like he's potentially having an off night. To some looks like he's due for a big hit. Regardless of your viewpoints, he would follow Jake Martin. 2-2 to the right fielder. Sent out into straightaway center field. And play is made easily by Ortiz, but the runner's tag. And there's a couple in scoring position now for Schmidt. Second time a fly out for Martin has advanced the runner. Even when he's not getting a board, he's doing a job for this Tiger lineup. And here's a situation that head coach Tim Schreiner will take every time. Rafe Schmidt up to the plate. Runners on second and third. Had a sac fly that scored Morrison in the last inning. Chance to do more damage here in the 6th. He chops this one, though, towards first base. Flip to Castaneda, and he comes in to get out number 3. Comes in general to get a couple of outs and escape what potentially could have been a huge inning for the home team. Instead, they just regain the lead. It's 4-2 as we head into the 7th. We'll be right back with you watching the Tiger Network. going to be a pinch hitter to start for the Mountaineers here in the top of the 7th. Caleb Valchar comes in for Quintana, who's had a night to forget, both at the plate and defensively, committing 3 errors. So he departs. And the Schulenburg High School graduate comes in, the sophomore, listed as a pitcher slash infielder. See if he goes to shortstop defensively for the bottom half of the inning. Sends this one into the infield grass, popped extremely high, but Bender makes the play with ease. Franck continues his excellent work in this game. And Valchar sees a couple of pitches, pops one up, and heads back to the dugout. So back to the top of the order we go. Benavides, 0 for 2, reached on a walk to start the game. It's been a real contrast between the two pitchers for the Tigers. Thacker was pretty consistent in getting ground balls in his stint on the mound, and since then it's been Franck who's done just the opposite, just the one ground out right back up the middle to end the 6th. Otherwise it's been either Ks or flyouts for the Mountaineers against him. Only 2 hits so far in this game for the visitors. 6 hits in comparison for the home team. And a 3-0 this time from Franck is in there. Saw him pretty consistently get out in front, nothing in 2 in the 4th, 5th, and the 6th. It's a 3-0 count, a bit of an outlier for the man on the mound. He's working from behind now, and he gets back to a full count. Chance Goins waits on deck. He's 0 for 2. Contreras would follow him. Has the exact same stat line, G5, walk, run scored, strikeout. And there is strike number 3. Franck comes from behind in the count. It was 3-0 at one point. And it ends in a strikeout. Out number 2 for the Tigers, who start to feel a bit of the rhythm here in San Antonio in the 7th inning. It took them a while to get going. The bats have finally started to heat up, and it's all been behind Carter Franck. He's kept that metronome going with strikeouts and flyouts on the mound. Only 45 pitches for Franck through 4 1/3. It's not inconceivable he could go the rest of the way and save the bullpen for the next couple of days. He's making a case for himself as the first guy out of the pen for Tim Scannell when we get to tournament time. And here's the 1-2. And it is in there for called strike 3. So a couple of consecutive strikeouts. And the momentum continues to build for the Tigers and Franck on the mound. Trinity leads 4-2. And it's stretch time here in San Antonio. We'll be right back with you on the Tiger Network. Fireworks in downtown San Antonio for the Fiesta celebration. Tigers look for some fireworks here at the plate. Grabbed a couple of runs to take the lead in the bottom of the 6th. See if they can replicate that feat here in the 7th. Had some insurance. With the way Carter Frank is pitching at the moment, knock on wood, they don't need anything else. You know, I try to be unbiased at times, but I'm also just wearing a Trinity baseball hat right now. Look forward to seeing what this team can do when we get closer and closer to the postseason. We'll have a game against McMurray on Tuesday, and then the weekend off as they prepare for postseason action. Depending on the results of this weekend and TLU series next weekend against the same Mountaineer team, Tigers will be either the 1 or 2 seed. TLU, of course, no slouch. They're ranked number 5 in the nation, 1 place ahead of Trinity. That ball bounces in front of Elliott, knocks his mask off. That's painful one for the catcher. So it's going to be a 3-1 pitch to Mason Meredith. We saw him dabble as the leadoff hitter at times this season, but he's been more consistently the cleanup guy. He's the cleanup guy hitting leadoff here in the 7th. He's got a 3-1 count. Fouls it off, and the count runs full. For the Tigers, 1 through 4, it's pretty unquestionably the best part of any lineup in the conference, potentially in the region. And I think it's going to be, you know, can you get consistent performances from your 5 through 9? We've seen that happen as of late, as Meredith's not happy with this call. He was on his way to first, which he thought was a leadoff walk. Instead, it's a strikeout looking for Castaneda. Continues some excellent work on the mound. But as of late, guys like Bender, who's hitting in the 5 spot, Goodrich behind him, Caraway at times, have added some real dynamism at the bottom of the lineup and allowed it to turn over in innings when there's 1 or 2 outs and a couple of guys on, like we saw in the 6th when the leadoff guy Morrison brought a couple of guys in on an RBI single. That's when this team can really start to be dangerous. Bender with his trademark slouched over stance. He's got a 1-0 count, and now it's going to be 2-0 after Castaneda falls off towards first base rather awkwardly there. Has a little bit of a tussle with the mound, and he's going to try and figure something out here. Sophomore looks in, gets the signal from Elliott. And the 2-0 is high. So nearly walked Mason Meredith. Instead, got a contentious strike 3 call, and he's in danger of walking Dallas Bender here on a 3-0 count. Did well to come in the 6th and stop the bleeding and keep the Tiger lead to 4-2. Bender content to watch that one go by for strike 1. We'll see if they can get anything out of him outside of that. This game probably too close for comfort if you're a Tiger fan. These close games as of late in the past couple of seasons have gone in favor of the Mountaineers. There's your look at some fireworks. Hope to bring you some off the bat, Tiger hitters. Shout out to our producer, Josh, for doing that. And the payoff pitch grounded down the line, and a excellent pick made by Hortz over at first base to get out number 2. Could have been disaster there if that had got past him and Bender ends up on second or potentially third. You never know when that man gets running. Can't really slow himself down. So Goodrich will bat with nobody on base. So for 3. Some would argue he was done wrong way back in the first on the interference call. All kinds of threes there on his stat line. 0 for 3, hitting .333 with 33 RBI. Tried my best to rack the brain for any more threes, but nothing pops to mind. 1-0 drops well short of the plate for Castaneda. He's fallen behind the batter in all 3 at-bats now here in the 7th, but he's managed to get the job done up to this point. Certainly not making it easy for himself. And Goodrich not going to make it easy for him. This one gets down the line. It's going to be a couple of bags here for the Tiger catcher. Throw comes in to second base, but he's in there in plenty of time. 2-out double now, and potential for Johnson to add to the lead. Castaneda gets away with going behind in the count a couple of times. Not that time. He's going to get a visit now from the dugout. See if that's it for him. And it's going to be. So Castaneda comes in, does some good work, works 1 1/3, gives up the 1 double. It's a strikeout and departs. So we'll see who the Mountaineers turn to when we come back. You're watching Tiger Baseball. It's 4-2 for Trinity. So it'll be local kid Jake Converse, San Antonio. First year, graduation of Edison High School. See his stats on your screen. Not the best of first campaigns with the Mountaineers, but he's getting a chance now in his hometown to try and prevent the Tigers from taking an even bigger lead. They took the lead in the 6th, and they're threatening here with a runner on second base. Big over-the-top delivery from the number 54. Schreiner roster well in excess of, looks like 60 players. Number Number 61 there on the roster, which goes pretty much sequentially from number 2 on. Nowhere near 60 seeing game time for Coach Brisbane. You assume they have some sort of JV set up or something of that nature to keep guys getting game time. Probably also have practice set up like the Tigers do, where they pretty much have a full scrimmage every day. This one is sent by Johnson towards short. Play to be made, and it is. So after some woes at shortstop earlier on, this time Quinones able to get the job done. And the Tigers will take this 4-2 lead into the 8th. Be right back with you as Schreiner goes to grab their bats. So Frank's 50th pitch of the night will be his first here in the 8th inning. He's up against 3, 4, and 5 in the order for the Mountaineers. Contreras, Gilliam, and Hortz. Continues what has been a common theme of getting out in front of hitters, which they're forced to protect, and a lot of times they're just putting them out into the outfield for plays to be made. Either that or they're just getting nowhere near. And there's another one where Contreras nowhere near. Goodrich pops up to make the tag. And there's one away here in the 8th. Strikeout number 8 for Frank. And just 5 innings of work. Has to be one of his best outings up to this point of the season. Giving up 2 hits. And those are the only base runners. No walks or hit batters or anything of the sort. Command has been astute from the reliever. There's another example of just a great off-speed pitch. Finds the outside part of the plate, and he's ahead in the count. 0-2, making it look easy. It's a Missouri City native. That time goes upstairs, tries to get Gilliam to chase, the SCAC hitter of the week. Watches it go by. Here is the 1-2 on its way. And another swing and miss on a ball in the dirt. Ball coming out of the hand of Frank just looks so inviting. And the floor drops out from underneath it. And Goodrich scrambles to make sure it doesn't go past him. Frank flirting with the idea of double-digit strikeouts here. Wasn't the starter, that was Arjun Thacker, who struggled with a bit of control towards the end of his appearance in the third inning. There may have been a lot of base on balls through 3. It's been a lot of Ks since. Strikeouts left and right for Franck. Here's the man responsible for both Mountaineer runs, Reese Hortz. Not convinced by that breaking ball in the dirt. Plenty of cardio for Goodrich behind the plate. Popping up to make tags. Go and retrieve the ball. And Howard's behind that one, so he's now behind in the count as well, 1-2. This will be the 10th pitch of the inning. And what was nearly an immaculate inning for Franck. Instead, looks like it's going to be at least partially extended. Howard's continues a decent day at the plate. He rumbles and tumbles to second base. So RBI single back in the third, now a double for him here in the 8th. Just 2 hits off of Franck, 3 hits off of Franck, 2 of them credited to the Mountaineer first baseman. They won't pinch run for him, so he'll stay out there, probably in hopes that he gets another at bat in this game. It's Jeffrey Williams, designated hitter, also has a double off of Franck. See what he can do here. Just a couple of 3-pitch strikeouts to start the inning. Now the double threatens to disrupt the rhythm. Long check of the runner. That one finds the inside part of the plate. We'll see what Franck has on offer. He's gone for the breaking pitch in the dirt. The last couple of times he's had the 0-2 count. Will he do it again, and will Williams be alert to the danger that pitch is? And he does manage to get the bat on the ball and drop it out in front of Martin. And Howartz comes all the way around to score from second base. So a couple of consecutive hits, and the Mountaineers won't go away quietly. Now they're within just the 1 run. Tying run stands on first base in the form of Jeffrey Williams. Excellent job from Howartz there. Gets a great jump off the bat. Of course, going with 2 outs on contact, and comes home with relative ease. Here's another one put into play by the Mountaineers. This one should end the inning. Morrison in on the infield grass, and he makes the grab for the pop out. So Franck gets a couple of 3-pitch strikeouts and then a couple of hits up against him. The Mountaineers grab one back. They're behind 4-3 here against the Trinity Tigers. to be Tucker against Converse here to start off the 8th inning. Tucker 1 for 2 on the day. Also reached on a walk back in the 2nd inning. Came around to score in the 6th after an error on the shortstop. Tigers will feel the Mountaineers breathing down on the back of their necks now, just 1 run behind. They wouldn't mind adding a couple of insurance tallies on the scoreboard here in the 8th. Have 8, 9, and then back to the top of the order in Morrison, who's having himself quite the night. Wouldn't mind having a couple guys on base for him when he comes to the plate. Tucker now behind in the count 1-2. Didn't agree with the call there from the umpire, but it came in, found the inside part of the plate. At least in the opinion of the one man that matters. Tucker came in, got Johnson to ground out to in the 7th. That one comes off the handle of the bat for Tucker. We'll see if it drops, and it doesn't. Finds the glove of Goins for out number 1. Wisniewski now comes to the plate. He reached with a walk his last time up. 1 for 2 on the day. It's been an excellent performance from Schreiner pitching up to this point. Even when the Tigers looked like they were starting to heat up in the 5th and 6th. A couple different relief pitchers came in and put the Tiger offense to rest. Couple of balls here to start the at-bat to Wisniewski. And the big windup, and it's going to be 3-0 now for Converse. First year from San Antonio, needs to find the strike zone here. And he won't do so. Second consecutive walk for Wisniewski. And it's Morrison now with the runner on first. Temecula native, 2 for 3. Also with a walk. He scored twice, and 2 runs came in off of his bat. That's going to be it, though, for the San Antonio native Converse, as Mountaineers will go to their bullpen, looks like for the 3rd time tonight. Yep, pat on the rear end there, and he'll head back to the dugout. And we'll head to break as the Mountaineers look to get a new guy in on the mound. Tigers still lead 4-3. Hope you'll stick with us for the conclusion of this one. You're watching the Tiger Network. So the new pitcher for Schreiner is David Hill, freshman amongst best ERAs sported by any of the Mountaineer pitching. His last outing came against Dallas. He went a third of an inning, gave up a run on 2 hits, credited to a different pitcher. ERA unaffected. It's one of the guys that struggled big in the 26-0 loss against Austin. Any Schreiner fans tuning in, I hate to remind you of that game. Good news is they bounced back and took game 3 of that series. Tough tasks, though, for Hill coming into this one. He's facing the hot Logan Morrison at the plate. I'm not just talking about the mustache. And he's been swinging the bat extremely well tonight. Not sure what I just heard in the background there. Shriek from somewhere. So we await pitch number 2 from David Hill. Long look in, and he steps off. Game has just slowed down a bit. A couple of pitching changes, and situation continues to get more and more pressure filled. Just a 1-run game here in San Antonio, and that one comes in off of Logan Morrison. So now there's 2 on. We've seen him get called for leaning into a pitch earlier in the season. That time I think he sold the turnaround, although he certainly made himself bigger as the pitch came in. So there's 2 on. Jake Martin at the plate. Last time this scenario resulted in a deep fly out to center field. He's had 3 of those tonight. Can he find just that extra bit of power and send it over the center field wall? Blow the game open with a big 3-run home run here and continue to propel himself in the home run charts for the SCAC. Hill's offering is fouled back for strike number 1. Graduate of Flower Mound High School, sporting the baggy gray pants tonight. Very much a classic pitching look. Martin with the emotionless stare back out towards the mound. It's 1-1 for the Tiger right fielder. And he steps out as Hill continues struggle with the signs, it looks like. Maybe just wants to take his time here. Understandably so, against one of the SCAC's top hitters in Jake Martin. And there is a shot down the line. That one's going to get into the corner. An insurance run comes around to score. And they're going to go for run number 2 here off the bat of Martin. He gets caught potentially in between second and third, but it's a big 2 RBI double. Tigers extend their lead from 1 to 3. And for Martin, who's hit some extremely deep fly balls in this game, all it took was a liner right past the glove of Gilliam to finally get him some more output. He had a double way back in the third, but he was caught stealing before he could do anything with it. And it's going to be pitcher number 5 for the Mountaineers, so they're kind of flexing their roster here. 2 more games left to play in this series. Normally you wouldn't continue to go to your bullpen, but the game they feel is within reach, within reason, they want to continue and preserve that as long as they can. So we'll continue to take breaks as they go with these pitching changes. It's going to be Derek Gonzalez when we come back. Trinity now leads 6-3. Don't go anywhere. So Derek Gonzalez, the new man on the mound for Schreiner. The 2 RBI double from Jake Martin has given the Tigers a bit of insurance here on their lead in game 1 of the series. This inning not done yet though. Shamet, the runner in scoring position. Had a sac fly back in the 5th. It's otherwise been a quiet night for the man who's second in the batting charts in the conference. Up near 400 for the second consecutive season. It's Tiger left fielder. Guy that many believe if he wanted to could potentially get drafted and go on to play professionally at some point. Martin, another one of those attracting attention. He stands on second after an RBI double. Shamet's stance so natural, so casual. Just stands in. He's really started to develop the long ball as of late. 4 home runs his last 4 games. Earlier today, TLU run ruling Austin College 14-4. Tigers looking to respond here against Schreiner as they continue to pursue the Bulldogs in the SCAC standings. That's a walk to Shamet. So there's a couple on now for Mason Meredith. Hasn't been the case often tonight. The only time he's come up with a runner on base, it was Morrison, who came around to score way back in the 1st. Not what you'd expect for a man hitting 4th in the order. Sometimes that's just the way baseball goes. Texas Rangers manager Ron Washington used to famously say. Long look in from Gonzalez. And from the stretch, he tries to get a glove to it. It's going to go 4-2 though. An excellent turn from Schreiner to end the inning here in the 8th. We'll get a replay of that one for you before we head to break. Came off the mound or the glove maybe of Gonzalez. And Meredith is going to go down for a double play. Great turn and throw from the shortstop. And it's going to bring up the Schreiner bats for potentially the final time in this game 1 of the series. They trail 6-3. It's going to be Elliott, Quinones, and Benavides when we come back. So coming out for the final frame, Carter Frank continues. He's been excellent so far. Gave up the only run of his 5 2/3 innings of work last time out. He also matched that with a couple of 3-pitch strikeouts. So he's got 65 pitches through just about 6 innings. And he's made quite a few guys look extremely bad with the bat in their hand. It'll be Elliott, Quinones, and Benavides. That one going to get through, though, and gets in front of Jake Martin for a leadoff single from George Elliott. He was 0 for 3 previous to that at bat. Mountaineers would need 3 minimum here in the 9th. 5, 6, and 7 would be due up for the Tigers if we had a bottom half of this inning. See Elliott at first, the catcher. Frank comes set, and a big swing and a miss from Quinones. This is the first time the substitute shortstop has seen what Frank has on offer. Which usually has been a recipe for a strikeout. Frank with 9 Ks so far, and he's a strike away from number 10. Pause, and the check of the runner at first. The 0-2 pitch on its way to Quinones. And strike number 3 swinging. First base not open, so no need to throw down. That's out number 1 here in the 9th. And that is the 10th strikeout written down on the score sheet since the arrival of Carter Frank. There was 1 for Thacker before that, so 11 Ks in total for the Mountaineers. And Ben Benavides, the runner on first and 1 out here in the 9th, Schreiner needs at least 3. Try and extend this game. Benavides 0 for 3 with a walk way back in his first at bat. That one comes in low. Goodrich continues to do an excellent job of getting down to block pitches that are in the dirt. A lot of times it's been to get up and tag or throw down to first after a strikeout, but be very easy to let one go past you, and then you have what many would call an undeserved base runner. It's going to be a 2-0 from Franck. Comes in high. He's now gone 6 innings, giving up 1 run, and has 10 Ks. It's going to be a quick chat for him, though, here in the 9th. He's fallen behind in the count 3-0. Doesn't look like anyone from the dugout, just Goodrich and Franck. Gives him a chance to mentally reset here. Just needs a couple more outs. And the Tigers can rest easy going into game 2 tomorrow at 2 o'clock. That one will be here once again on the Tiger Network. It'll be Josh Maxagimba on the call. And he can't make the adjustment there, so a single and now a walk here in the 9th. And the tying run comes to the plate. It's Chance Goins. He's 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. So is the man behind him, Austin Contreras. They've managed to have the exact same scoreline up to this point. And looks like that may be it, though, for Franck. So he comes in and does some excellent work, but once he gave up that walk, he knew something was up. That's the first time he's done that all day, but we saw something special from the junior right-hander tonight. 10 Ks and just 6 innings pitched, only the 1 earned run given up. And to come in and finish this game off, looks like it's going to be Mark Tyndall, who's frequented as a starter this season, but recently has been just this, a closer. And this is a save situation, tying run at the plate, winning run on deck. So we'll let him warm up in what's turned out to be a bit of a pressure cooker situation for the Houston native on the mound. It's going to be Mark Tyndall. You see his stats, 5 wins racked up as a starter in the first 2/3 of the season. Offering number 1 to Chance Goins. As of late, though, he's struggled in a couple of starts, and he was moved into the bullpen. Loneker and Cater have made the opposite moves from the pen to a starting position. But whatever works for Tim Scannell going here into the stretch run. Throw behind the runner at second. Looked like a play called from the dugout. Goins represents the tying run. Schreiner trails 6-3. Runners on first and second with one away. See Tyndall finding his grip. Check of the runner. And he comes home. Potential double play ball here to end the game. And the first one gets there in time. The second one, though, behind Goins at first base. So a fielder's choice, and there's two away. Austin Contreras now at the plate for Schreiner. He's still the tying run. No, they're not really a team that threatens to go long all that often. Just 8 home runs collectively on the season. Somebody knock on wood, please. Contreras 0 for 3. And if pattern holds and he copies his buddy Chance Goins like he has all night on the score sheet, should ground into a fielder's choice here to end the game. Squares around a bunt. Interesting decision. Pulls it back, though, for ball number 1. That one comes in high. If you're wondering why we didn't go through the around the MLB section today, it's really because I forgot, but also the Rangers weren't playing, so probably no one interested anyway. We've got an interesting one here. A 6-3 tying run at the plate. Mark Tyndall in a safe situation. He finds the zone that time against Contreras, who continues to square around a bunt. Must back himself to beat the throw down to first. 2 outs. No other option. Backs to the wall here for the Mountaineers. Now they're down to their final strike against Mark Tyndall. Tyndall adjusts the cap and steps onto the rubber here. Comes set, and the 2-2 is sent foul. So hold the celebrations here in game 1. Tigers playing catch-up against TLU in the SCAC standings. Can't afford to mess around and drop any games here this weekend. They're looking to get off to a good start in game 1. And they're going to wait at least one more pitch. Nobody in motion on the base pass. It's going to be a full count with 2 outs. The runners will be in motion. You hear the Schreiner dugout trying to get in the head of Tyndall on the mound. We'll see what he has on offer against Contreras. It's the payoff pitch. And it's chopped foul. We'll go again. What a narrative it is. The Tiger pitchers completely reshuffling mid-season. So far, it's worked to great effect. We'll see if it can continue here. The 3-2 fouled off again. Don't know if I can muster up the anticipation in my voice for a third time. So Contreras steps back in. He's done an excellent job of staying alive here. Can he put something in play to try and keep this game alive for the visitors? He can. Let's see if the play can be made, though. It's chopped towards short, and that one will end the game. Wisniewski across to Dallas Bender, and the Tigers take this one 6-3. Thacker, the starter for the Tigers, but it'll be Carter Frank who gets the win. He goes 6 innings, gives up 1 earned run, and strikes out 10. Logan Morrison with a big day at the plate for the Tigers. He went 2 for 3 with a couple of walks, a couple of RBI, and 3 runs scored. Those are your players of the game on both sides of the ball for the victorious Trinity Tigers. You see the final line score there for you. 3 runs, 5 hits, 4 errors, 9 left on base for the Mountaineers. 6 runs, 8 hits, 1 error, and 10 left on base for the Tigers. Schreiner falls to 12 and 23. Tigers advance to 28 and 9. And this will be my final time covering the team unless we get to host a regional later on in the season. I'd like to thank you for sticking with me this year on the Tiger Network. You see the remaining schedule. Josh Muxagimba on the call the rest of the way this weekend. Tigers go away to McMurray for the SCAC Championships May 3rd through 5th and potentially some postseason baseball to follow. I'd like to thank you for tuning in all year, not just on the Tiger Network, but to hear my voice on the call. Congratulations to the Tigers and best of luck the rest of the way. Hope you have a great night.